I was in contact with my father daily. But whether or not I saw him at the house or we talked on the phone, check my cell phone records. The phone records, my phone pings had me calling Hope Spring Drive again and again and again when my mom was at work.
And what were you saying to him?
I just wanted answers. When am I going to see her? How much longer are we going to keep doing this? Is she okay? That I remember.
And what would he say?
He would tell me she was fine. Just keep doing what I'm telling you to do. You guys will be reunited soon. That's what sticks with me. He told me at one point we would be reunited soon.
Did he describe where Kaylee was or what she was doing?
No. Wouldn't tell me anything. I would ask if he knew where she was and he would just tell me she was safe. When you're physically afraid of another human being, and you were conditioned to say and do what they wanted you to say and do, even as an adult, you're still going to revert right back to it.
So you really believed he would have kidnapped her from you and put you through all of that? That made sense to you, that he would do that?
At the time, it did.
It just seems incredible. For 31 days, you're still in that space of...
I was still in that space even a couple weeks later when I was in jail. Hopeful.
Okay, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, first of all, when you are afraid of somebody, you go on national TV and accuse them of something, or get a protective order or do anything. That seems a little off-putting that you would say those words because it doesn't follow dramatic. It doesn't follow the thing she's doing. She's overly dramatic when she said daily, again and again. And Mark, I think it's just as part of my opinion, she's showing some signs of borderline personality disorder. Those folks often will describe themselves. And look, borderline personality doesn't make you do crazy stuff necessarily. It just means that you're going to have different behavior patterns. People learn to live with it and learn to live with it just fine, and others don't. But often they're dramatic in their delivery of words and that kind of thing. They feel emotions more strongly. They'll tell you they're passionate. So I think we see some of that. Then she goes to this data intake phase that I love because she's trying to figure out what the person's asking her. And you see that suspicious as she's watching her brows knit, her tongue kind of is sitting at the edge of her lips. You can't miss it. And she's trying to plug into what this woman needs to hear is why she's paying attention to that. And then if you just pay attention to her for a couple of minutes, there's a couple of others in there like, this is not a rational actor, the kind of way she's approaching this story. The logic doesn't hold up to me. I would start taking her story apart. And then she has this buy-in face. When she realizes the woman's following what she's doing, she does that kind of weird little chin melts away, lower face stretches, and eyes open up. I see people do that when they're internalizing ideas or realizing someone else has bought into what they're saying in business meetings. It's always a weird one to me, but I see it. People doing things like that. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, now they think I've bought in. Now it's time for me to turn on them and go after what I need. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you. One thing that hits really hard for me as a major red flag is this phrase, that I remember. Why is this injected here? There's numerous references to her to almost forcefully reminding us that she does remember very specific things. And if you go through this interview, each one of these moments is a glaringly weird detail that doesn't make much sense. And there's a forceful reminder that she specifically remembers it. Then there's another injection of that's what sticks with me when she's referring to this phrase about being reunited soon. Then there's chin boss movement, which we associate with grief or shame when we see this little muscle right here. And it happens at the precise moment of believing that he might kidnap Kaylee. And I think this indicates grief or shame here. And I think here it's shame around the idea of the story. And when she's describing being physically afraid of her father, she doesn't say anything about herself. Nothing. She uses the word you being afraid. She doesn't say her father here. She uses another human being. You are conditioned. What they want you to say and do, you are still going to revert back to that. And then when she says at the very end of this clip, she says the word hopeful. And we see maybe some shame again at the mention of being hopeful even while she was in jail. That's all I got there. Mark?
Yeah. Look, there's something here that doesn't logically match up for me. It seems exaggerated, almost histrionic, which is she says again and again and again. Okay. But my quick look at the report that was put up is again and again and again is actually twice in relatively close succession on each day. And compared to all the rest of the calls, it's quite minimal, I would say. Evidentially, at the cursory glance, fair enough, that I give to the evidence there, I don't think it stands up to the idea of again and again and again. So, look, is it that her idea is if I call twice in succession, in close succession, and the rest of the day I don't call at all, that is again and again and again and again, because that's not what it seems like to me. And so therefore our worlds are quite departed right now. And you know, and if it is true what I've seen there, why would the filmmaker put that up when it's clearly not evidential of what she's saying? Are they trying to highlight that she's exaggerating and hope that people like me catch it? Or are they trying to just put up a lot of, stuff with a pen like this on it, a highlighter pen on it, and hope that people go, oh yeah, look, yeah, no, she did do it again and again and again. Yeah, if you look over several days, it does seem like that. But on any one day, no, not really. So that seems just kind of weird to me. And when at the end she's confronted with the idea that this seems incredible, I think the interviewer uses the word, that's incredible, isn't it? Or something along those lines. She actually gets quite challenging and aggressive back. So when called out on the incredibility of this story, she gets aggressive. So interesting. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. When she says, she's talking about her dad, and he says, you will be reunited soon. Who talks like that? I know who talks like that. The leader of an alien galaxy. That's who talks like that. You will be reunited with your people, so with the earthlings soon. That kind of stuff. This just sounds odd. And she's used the word reunited because she's been told to use it. And she's been told to use it by somebody smarter than she is, because they don't understand that when they want her to relay the information, it doesn't sound like her. This is totally out of her vernacular to use a setup like that. And during her explanation of why she was asking, of the question she was asking, the last thing she asked about is if she's okay, if the little child is okay. She has 2 or 3 other questions, and then she wants to know if she's okay. If I leave the house, if I'm gone, you all know how it is. You leave the house for a couple of days, you call home and say, how's it going? What's going on? And if there's a dog or a child there, we have a little dog, I have to say to Amber, so how's Hattie? That's one of the first things out of my mouth is, how's she doing? It wouldn't be the last thing I ask before I get off the phone, especially if you're worried about your child. Where is she? All that kind of stuff. Is she okay? Then you move on to the other things. Then she goes into therapy talk. And then we see at the very end, we see that big old huge chin jut. It just locks on there. She talks about hope and those things. And I don't know if she knows where to go there emotionally or not. I think that's why we're seeing that, because it's almost like a combination of anger and confusion.
I was in contact with my father daily, but whether or not I saw him at the house or we talked on the phone, check my cell phone records. The phone records, my phone pings had me calling Hope Spring Drive again and again and again when my mom was at work.
And what were you saying to him?
I just wanted answers. When am I going to see her? How much longer are we going to keep doing this? Is she okay? That I remember.
And what would he say?
He would tell me she was fine. Just keep doing what I'm telling you to do. You guys will be reunited soon. That's what sticks with me. He told me at one point we would be reunited soon.
Did he describe where Kaylee was or what she was doing?
No. Wouldn't tell me anything. I would ask if he knew where she was, and he would just tell me she was safe. When you're physically afraid of another human being, and you were conditioned to say and do what they wanted you to say and do, even as an adult, you're still going to revert right back to it.
So you really believed he would have kidnapped her from you and put you through all of that? That made sense to you that he would do that?
At the time, it did.
It just seems incredible. For 31 days, you're still in that space of...
I was still in that space even a couple weeks later when I was in jail. Hopeful.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.